Here's the York County forecast on 104.3 The Goat. Sunshine today with clouds on the increase later, a high of 80. Rain developing later tonight, a low of 60. Rain to start Monday, changing to showers through the midday, and a high of 77. The sunshine returns on Tuesday. That's the latest York County forecast on 104.3 The Goat, York County's greatest.
Seacoast Oldies
on 104.3 FM, WWSF Sanford,
and SeacoastOldies.com.
Seacoast Oldies.
The following is a paid program. The opinions expressed by hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of WWSF, its parent company, Port Broadcasting, LLC, or the sponsors of this station.
It's time for the Real Estate Buzz with Peggy Hill. Buying, selling, or just thinking about it, you're going to want to hear what Peggy has to say. Now, here's the Real Estate Buzz with Peggy Hill on 104.3 The Goat.
Good morning. Here we are again on a beautiful Sunday, and thank you for joining me this morning on my radio show, The Real Estate Buzz with Peggy Hill. And I am full throttle into, it believes like the beginning of the fall real estate market, which is really good. It's been a little quiet in the spring, picked up a tiny bit in the summer, and now I'm getting a lot of listings, a lot of buyers. One thing I would like to say, and I've had these conversations over and over with a lot of people, is the real estate market, is it changing, is it not changing? Who knows? But I do know there is shift. There's a shift. It's definitely some sort of a shift, but it's not negative. I just seen the numbers come out in the main listings, and we are up. Year over year, it was like 7%, and then the housing pricing is still going up. And that's what I kept saying, just because there's always been a lack of inventory. So until that need of housing is fixed, we're still going to be in a really good market. And just because you're seeing more listings, does that mean it's shifting? Not necessarily. I mean, it's definitely different. I am saying for sure there's a shift, but I don't think we're shifting, what I meant to say, into a seller's versus a buyer's market. We've been in a seller's market for a very long time, and that's where there's more listings than there is, more buyers than there is listings. And the buyers have been negotiating, been in multiple offers trying to obtain their property. That's a very strong listing selling market. When it shifts into a buyer's market, we need to have over 6 months of inventory sitting, and that is not happening. We are seeing a lot of houses, and I like that. People are starting to list their properties, getting more inventory. I'm able to put the buyers under contract, but I am definitely still seeing multiple offers. And it really depends on your price point. It's such a funky market. It's just funky right now. I've got over $1 million property listed, and I have so many showings, and we have multiple offers. We had to put an offer deadline in. Oh, no, we didn't. We put a highest and best, but yeah. So that's, well over $1 million. I have properties that are listed at 380 in Kennebunk, and they're sitting. I got one in Biddeford. Fabulous, fabulous home. $575, beautiful, built-in swimming pool, gorgeous, and no offers. Then I list a piece of land, and boom, multiple offers. So it's really just a very interesting, eclectic market right now. I mean, what I would say is if you're looking to buy right now, don't wait. Just buy real estate and wait. Don't wait to buy real estate. Said that many, many times. If you're looking to list, there's still plenty of buyers. Get it on the market. Pay attention. I am seeing a lot of slowing on the buyers. They're getting more. I don't want to say picky, but they want what they want and they're waiting for it, or they're looking for what that perfect home is. We're seeing a lot more negotiations on inspections, and that's because that super, super fast market has been gone for a bit now. So you're able to look at a couple and choose. Of course, then it depends on what price point. It's so weird. But what I've had come down the line in the last several months here is we go under contract, and now you're able to do your inspections, which I've always been a fan of. I think you are paying several hundreds of thousands of dollars for a property. You need to inspect it and pay attention. You don't have to negotiate, but at least know what you're buying. Be educated on what you're buying. So the inspections have been around for, they were going to weigh 2020 to maybe around 23. People were waiving inspections right and left. It was crazy. Now, we're getting 5-day, 7-day inspections, and I am seeing a lot of problems that really I don't think are problems. on inspections. And I don't know if it's the inspectors, the clients, the brokers. I'm on the listing side a lot. So I guess a little bit on my show I wanted to talk about this morning is this a red flag or is it not a red flag, right? So you really, really want to buy that house and you have the inspection and something shows up and you're like, should I walk away? Is it something terrible or not? So run or don't run, right? Worry or don't worry. And I think you need to rely on your home inspector. And just because he says or she says, hey, this looks interesting, let's check it out, then you need to get a professional. For example, there's a little rust on the heating system. Don't go, oh my goodness gracious, the world's crashing. Bring in a heating expert, somebody who's dealing with whatever that is, HVAC, whatever it is, and have the expert come in, really look at it, take it apart. Is it good? Is it not good? So I always say a home inspector is like the general doctor. We kind of come in, you have it look over, and they're like, oh, now you have to go see a specialist. So that's what the home inspector is. They're just kind of looking at the surface. Great example. We're going to go back several years ago. And I have the buyer, and he hired the home inspector, whom I didn't know, that's fine. And the home inspector told him the roof was gone, had to replace, not the roof shingles, like the whole roof. All the sheathing had to come off. And I'm sitting there going, I've closed hundreds of deals, and I don't want to challenge an inspector because he's the professional. But I did. I said, what do you mean the roof is gone? Those are brand new shingles. They're like 2 years old. Nope, there's mold in the attic. You have to take all the sheathing off. I went, what? Okay. So we let him finish his inspection report. I sat down with my buyer, and I said, well, before you think the roof has to be completely replaced, let's bring in a professional. Let's check the integrity of the roof and the sheathing. Let's bring in a mold inspector. And sure as we can, it was mold, and it had to be removed, and they had to spray it and all that stuff and gave a warranty. But the roof integrity was in excellent shape. All the sheathing was fine. The roof was fine. So, is it a red flag? Is it not a red flag? Just rely on your inspector, but then get your second inspector, the professional, in. Some other things okay, when you're on a showing, right? And we're going to sing, let's think about this. I'm going to give you something you might encounter when you're looking at a house, right? And then you can tell me in your head, is this a red flag or is this not a red flag? So the seller won't let you in the basement. Okay, well, if you said red flag, I would say red flag. I would have a problem because there might be a legitimate reason, and you don't buy the house and you need to understand what's in the basement. You need to see what's in the basement, or you can't get into the attic. Why? Why can't I get up there? So this is a red flag in my head, right? That's what I'm thinking. Number 2 scenario. There's a little water in the basement, but the seller says it only happens during heavy rain. Okay, I can tell you I've seen this so many times. I have been on so many showings, and I will read the disclosures. Never had water. Only have water in heavy rains. So, is this a red flag or not a red flag? Do we run or do we stay? I would say investigate, right? Let's dig a little deeper. Only during heavy rain. What does that mean? Because the seller's definition might be different than your definition. So we bring in a professional. Let's look at this. Where is it coming from? Why is it coming in the basement? Is it a lot? Is it a little? There are things you can do, and this is where you can do your own visual, rely on your home inspector, your basement, all things basement-y, TC Hafford or somebody to come on in, and look for water lines. And, I always say on the wood, there could be a water line, could be there for 1 day or 20 years. It doesn't go away. So if there's water lines on the bottom of the stairs or something like that, then there was at some point water in the basement, right? So I don't know if that's necessarily a big red flag, but it's definitely something that you need to investigate. A lot of times I see things that say, never had any water in the basement. And then you go downstairs and you're like, that's really not true. Look at this. This wood's rotted. Yeah, so that goes back to my famous trust but verify statement. Always. You're listening to the Real Estate Buzz with